Hello everyone, thank you for joining the Samsung DeX webinar. Before we start the webinar, here are some housekeeping items. If you have any questions for us, please post them in the Q&A box and we'll answer them at the end of the presentation. If you have any technical issues during the webinar, please send us a comment at Q&A. We will try to fix them. This session will be recorded and it will be live after it will be posted in public in Samsung developer webpage after this webinar, so you can go ahead and watch it. If you want to, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and re-watch the episode. And please don't forget to provide us your feedback after the session, before leaving the session. I am Kavita Gopalan from Samsung Developer Program team. I'll be giving you a high-level overview about Samsung DeX today. And we also have Hisa Neto from Adobe, who will be explaining his experience of making the Adobe application compatible with Samsung DeX. So how can we help you? So we are developer support team based in Mountain View, California. And we support Samsung Android SDKs, Tizen SDK for wearables, and also Gear Watch Designer tool and the Theme Editor tool. And we also support if you have any issues while publishing your application to the Galaxy App Store, or if you need to promote your application in the Galaxy App Store. Please, if you are not already a member of Samsung Developer Program, you can register for free and you can submit a ticket for us and we'll be happy to help you. So these are the list of past webinars. We have done a series of webinars and you can find them in Samsung Developer Program website, and there is a link here posted as well. You can click here, which will take you to the pages which has all the information about all the past webinars we have done. A lucky winner of today's webinar attendee will be winning a Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus phone and a Samsung DeX station. A US-based webinar attendee will be chosen at random to win this, and we'll announce the winner in 1 week after this webinar. So let's deep dive into the Samsung DeX. So what is Samsung DeX? Samsung DeX is a short form for Samsung Desktop Experience. And it is a new user experience that extends the functionality of your Android device to a desktop environment. It is very easy to connect. You just have to connect the Samsung phone to the Samsung DeX station and connect the DeX station to the external monitor or display screen using the HDMI cable. And there are also provisions in the DeX station to connect external keyboard and mouse, which gives whole new flexibility for the users to use the phone. So right now, Samsung Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus supports the DeX connectivity, and we are planning to support the upcoming flagship devices too. So it is a great market for developers to make your application compatible with DeX, because the estimated addressable market for these devices is 30 million devices by end of 2017. Why DeX? So reports suggest that 74% of IT workers use 2 or more devices for work, and 52% use 3 or more devices. So this increased fragmentation will cause loss of productivity. So many people will store half of the file in this device and the other half in this device, and we have to sit and spend some time in combining all the work that we have done. So Samsung DeX resolves this issue by bringing a desktop experience to the Android phone. Samsung DeX compatible apps utilize powerful features offered by Samsung DeX mode, like multitasking. Apps that are not modified especially for DeX can also still run in the DeX mode with some limitations, like it will be running only in the fixed size mode. So DeX is a very powerful tool, especially for games, because users can use the bigger display, and it gives a full immersive experience to the users, and also for other applications like virtual display interface and remote desktop applications, can give users a whole new level of flexibility and functionality with the same Android app that runs on your phone than when it is being connected in the DeX mode. Setting up DeX. So setting up DeX is very simple. You need to have the DeX station. You can connect the Samsung Galaxy S8 or S8 Plus phone to the DeX station. DeX station will can connect to the external monitor using the HDMI cable, and you can power the DeX station using the Samsung branded fast charger. And as mentioned earlier, you can connect the external keyboard and mouse either using the USB slot that is available in the DeX station, or you can directly connect to the phone using Bluetooth. Advantages of DeX. So Samsung DeX gives a whole new level of functionality to the mobile phone. It increases the productivity of the users because it lets the users to take advantage of the Android Nuggets multi-window functionality. This means that users will be able to open multiple instances of the same application simultaneously, and they will also be able to resize the windows dynamically. And once the users maximize the window size to the full length and width of the bigger display, it gives a totally new immersive experience to users. It's a great advantage, especially for the game applications and remote desktop applications, as I mentioned before. And it is very innovative because it gives all the most of the functionalities that user can use in a desktop mode, like using Alt-Tab or copy-paste between the folders or drag-and-drop features, which are otherwise not available in a mobile mode. How Samsung DeX works. So as mentioned earlier, Samsung DeX is an extension of Android Nuggets multi-window functionality. Additional code has been developed by Samsung to make it more robust so that the applications running in the DeX mode run smoothly. For developers, there are no new Samsung APIs that is needed to be integrated to make your Android application compatible in the DeX mode. It is all plain Android. So these are the only device requirements that is needed. You should have a mobile device that is either Samsung Galaxy S8 or S8 Plus, and you should have an external display like full HD, 16:9 ratio and HDMI display, monitor, TV or projector, and the peripherals needed are DeX station and Samsung branded fast charger to connect to power up the DeX station, and the external mouse and keyboard. And the operating system supported is Android Nugget. Optimizing for Samsung DeX. So it is very simple to make your application optimize it for the Samsung DeX. First step would be to determine your app requirements. You need to decide if you want your application to run in a fixed size window or a resizable window. And then you can implement the code modifications to your application accordingly. And you'll be able to test your application using Android Studio's emulator. So the mandatory requirements for your application to run in a fixed size window in the DeX mode, or it should support the multi-density, that is 640 dpi and 160 dpi for both the mobile and the external display, and it should support fake touch, that is, it should support mouse and the touchpad. So once you have implemented this, your application will be running in the DeX mode with the mouse support, and it will be displayed in a fixed window size. So if you want your application to optimize it for the Samsung DeX, where user will be able to resize it and maximize it to the full display, then these are the mandatory requirements. It should obviously support Android and multi-window functionality. That is, your application should explicitly declare resizable activity is equal to true in Android manifest file, and you should handle these list of 7 runtime configuration changes. So the 7 runtime configuration changes are like density change between x-axis DPI and MDPI, resolution change from WKHD to FHD, orientation change between the portrait and landscape. So when your mobile device is connected to the DeX station, it automatically switches from portrait to landscape mode. So you need to handle that configuration change if you want a smooth transition. And screen layout change, screen size change, smaller screen size change, and UI mode change between the mobile and the desktop mode. So these 7, if these 7 runtime configuration changes are handled in your application, then user will be able to have a very smooth desktop experience. And we also suggest to keep alive metadata in your Android manifest file. As you already know, if you declare the keep alive metadata, the application will not be killed when it switches from the mobile mode to the Samsung DeX mode. Otherwise, your foreground activity will be, if this declaration is not declared, then the activity will be killed and then restarted again when it switches to the Samsung DeX mode. So if you want to have a smooth transition, we suggest you declare this keep alive metadata in Android manifest file. So these are some of the optional requirements which will even more enhance the user's experience. Like you can support mouse right click. You can optimize your browser for Samsung Internet. Mouse wheel zoom. Support mouse icon change. You can also support scroll bar, keyboard combination, drag and drop functionality. And we suggest to disable the presentation class and disable the fixed orientation for camera, so that it looks good in the Samsung desktop mode. So all these information how to make these functionality available is available in developer.samsung.com with all the code snippets necessary. So once you have done modifying your Android application to make it compatible with Samsung DeX, then you can publish your application in the Galaxy App Store. As I mentioned earlier, so expected market for these devices is 30 million by the end of this year. It is a great market to reach. And as you can see, the Galaxy App Store, there are some suggestions which the store suggests to the user, some of the applications that are compatible with DeX. So it is easy for the users to figure out which applications are compatible in the DeX mode. So I wanted to show you a demo. So this is how Samsung DeX mode looks. I have already connected my mobile device to the DeX station, and I have connected the DeX station to the external monitor. As you can see, there is the status bar at the bottom, and notifications will be shown at the bottom of screen. And when you click the app tray, there is a suggestion for the apps for DeX, and this is that opens the Galaxy App Store with the list of applications that run in DeX mode. User will be able to easily choose which one to install and try using it on the Samsung DeX mode. Here I'm trying to open Microsoft Word. So most of the Microsoft applications and other most widely used applications like Adobe are now DeX compatible. As mentioned earlier, we have our partner Hisa from Adobe. He'll be talking in detail about his experience on developing his applications for the DeX mode after my presentation. So this is how the Samsung Galaxy App Store looks in the desktop mode. As you can see, it can be resized to any width and height, and it can also be maximized to the full screen, which makes it easier for users and gives a nice user experience. So this is the Adobe Acrobat Reader mobile application, and this is how it looks in the Samsung DeX mode. So there is a maximize button, which enables users to maximize it to the full length and width of the display screen. And it can also be resizable to any width and height of the user needs. And I'm scrolling using my mouse wheel. This is a Samsung Internet browser, and as you can imagine, all of the Samsung's default applications that comes in the phone are Samsung DeX compatible. So here in this demo, I'm using my keyboard that I have connected, external keyboard that I have connected to the DeX station to type in and search for a website in the browser. So here I'm trying to open the developer.samsung.com, and you can see there is a services tab, and you'll be able to find information about Samsung DeX under the services tab. So all necessary information for the developer to make your application compatible with Samsung DeX is available in that web page. So this is My Files application. That is a file explorer. That is a default tab that comes in the Samsung phone. As you can see, you will be able to open multiple instances of the same application simultaneously. And it is so easy to copy paste using the mouse right click. I'm just trying to copy an image from one folder to another folder. It is so easy now when mobile phone is connected to the mobile phone is in the Samsung DeX mode. Now let's see, we can open some other application. So this is a game application called Trybase. As you can see, it has a maximize button. It can be maximized to the full screen, which gives users a full immersive experience, which I think is really important for a game application. And I'm using my mouse to play the game, which gives me more flexibility and ease of use. So it can be resized to any width and height. Let's try and open some other application to see how it looks in the Samsung DeX mode. So this is a Adobe Lightroom application. It is Samsung DeX compatible, and it can be maximized to the full immersive mode. As you can see, you can click any of the images, and you can do all your editing using the mouse, and which is even more easier, and you can do it faster. So you can take picture with the fantastic camera that is available in Samsung S8 or S8 Plus and edit your photos immediately then and there using the Samsung DeX station with the help of a bigger display. And you can even share it with your friends and relatives through, or you can even post it on the social media. Makes it even more easy now. All the options that is available in the mobile mode obviously is also available in the DeX mode for editing. Okay, so yep, so it can be resized to any width and height. Let me open another video to show you a demo about other applications. So this is a YouTube application. This is another best use case for Samsung DeX mode. You can open your Android YouTube application and maximize it to the full screen, and you can watch even a movie in a big display instead of casting it to your TV from your mobile device. So this is an even more easier way to see videos in a bigger display using Samsung DeX. So the video is playing in the full display mode. Let's try to resize it again, and I would like to mention that if your application is already tablet compatible, it is only 2 steps away. Like, it's very minimal effort to make the code changes to make your application compatible with DeX. This is a remote desktop application, the VNC application that I'm using. So I'm trying to connect it to my system. So as you can see, I have connected to my system using my mobile device that is running on Samsung DeX mode. So I can browse any folder inside my system, copy paste it, or edit my documents. So I can do anything using my mobile device, which I would not be able to do it if it's not in a Samsung DeX mode. It may not be that easy to do it in a mobile mode, but when it is switched to the Samsung DeX mode, it gives a whole new functionality, and it makes it easy for the users to use the remote desktop application. So here I'm trying to open the Android Studio. It is so easy to work on Android Studio that is installed on your system, remoting through your mobile phone. You can even if you want to make simple code modifications, you can even go ahead and open your project, make simple modifications, and try and install it to see how it looks. It is that easy, and I think it opens a whole new opportunity for the Android applications when it is in the DeX mode. Here I'm just trying to open a template that is already available in the Android Studio. I just wanted to show you how easy it is to try and type the code in the Android Studio, and you can also see how it looks in your emulator. Just trying to open the main activity, and I'm using a mouse and keyboard is so easy, makes life so much simple. I'm just trying to type one line of code. It is that easy to use remote desktop applications, and it gives you a very powerful functionality in Samsung DeX mode, which may not be that easy if it's in a mobile mode. So let's see, have another video. This is a sample application that we have created for this webinar. It is a very simple Android application, and we have tried to make it compatible in the DeX mode. As you can see, there is a maximize button, and it can be resized to any width and height. What we are trying to do is we are handling the runtime configurations, the 7 runtime configurations that we have mentioned before, and just trying to display the values in a list view. We have just used the template, the master detail template that is available in Android Studio, and tried to make it compatible in the DeX mode. So it's a very simple. We just wanted to show how simple it is and how it's a very few lines of code to make it DeX compatible. And so before going to the next slide, I would like to show you let me see how to pause this video. Okay. So I'm trying to do a screen share here to show my Android Studio for you. Just 1 second. Sorry for playing the video again. Okay. I'm trying to show the Android Studio code which we have implemented for this Android application. I hope you are able to see the Android Studio. As I mentioned before, we have used the template called Master Detail template that is available in Android Studio. And here is how the Android manifest file looks. So we have implemented the resizable activity to true, which enables the users to resize the window of the application. And we are handling the runtime configurations for screen size, orientation, screen layout, etc. And we have also declared the keep alive metadata. And that's pretty much it. These are the changes that we have implemented for the template. And in your activity item list activity, obviously we have the on configuration changed callback, which will be called whenever a configuration change occurs in the application, because we have declared in the manifest file, and we are saying the Android platform that we are handling it in the code. And we are calling a method called the get layout details. The get layout details is a very simple method. What we are actually doing is we are just trying to get the current value for the screen width, screen height, and for the orientation, and all those 7 configuration changes that we have mentioned, and then just trying to display the current value. That's pretty much it. We are doing it the sample application. We wanted to keep it simple to show you how simple it is to make any Android application compatible in the DeX mode. Okay, so now I'm going to stop the screen share. Let's go back to the slides. And so these sample app guides and the slides will be available in Samsung Developer website after the webinar. So you can always, we have also displayed the link in this presentation at the end of the presentation. You can always go to that page and click the link to view the sample app and guide and even the presentation slides. And now I'm handing it over to Hisa from Adobe. Over to you, Hisa.
Okay, thanks, Kavitha. So my name is Hisa Naik. I'm the Director of Business Development in the Digital Media Business Unit at Adobe. Digital media handles applications that you're probably familiar with, like Photoshop, Illustrator, as well as the Document Cloud, which is our Acrobat offering. And I am in charge of the Samsung relationship. So what I'd like to do is kind of go over some of the internal justifications that Adobe had to go through in order to support DeX. We were launch partners with Google for Android support on the Chromebook at Google I/O. And by doing so, this gave us about 90% of the work necessary to support DeX. This includes things like keyboard, mouse support, screen resolution support, and also orientation. If you think about a phone, it's in portrait mode versus landscape, which would be more in the DeX mode setting. So this helped us out quite a bit. The remaining 10% was more on Q&A, making sure that it worked, making sure that it looked good. And I'll go over some of that in the next slide. Now, as a developer who already supports Android on Chromebook, it should take maybe about a week or so to implement the DeX platform. And then in terms of, if you're starting out from scratch, it might take several weeks to do so. But the advantage, once you're done, is that you'll have full DeX support as well as Chromebook support for the keyboard, mouse, and the screen resolution, as I mentioned earlier. Now, one of the other things that we wanted to look at from the Adobe perspective was kind of user workflow. How would DeX be used by the user? And we looked at that from two key applications that we have. One is Lightroom, and the other is Reader Mobile. Now, in Lightroom, looking at the history of how Samsung's improved their cameras, we knew that the S8 camera was going to be very good. We saw the S7 camera and the S7 Edge camera, and they were fantastic. We knew the S8 would be. So we figured that the users would be using the S8 and shooting in DNG or RAW format, basically. And then, when they got back to, let's say, either the studio or hotel room, they may want to work on a larger screen. So we saw that as a very good workflow where the user could then take a picture in DNG RAW and then go back and dock it to the DeX station, see it on a larger screen, and actually do editing on a much larger display. The other application we looked at is Reader Mobile. And in Reader Mobile, we wanted to make sure that the scanning experience was good. So we have scan built into Acrobat Reader. And what that allows you to do is scan a document in, convert it into PDF, and actually do OCR on that as well. Now, in editing that document or making comments on the document, of course you could do that on a smartphone, but we felt that it would be easier to do on a larger screen. So the DeX station allowed us to do that type of change. And in addition to that, Samsung, with their NOC security layer, really helps out. A lot of the PDF documents that people create are legal and confidential documents. So once again, from that workflow perspective, internally for Adobe, it made sense for us to support this, to support DeX. In terms of supported applications, we support 6 right now, or 6 support DeX. Reader Mobile, as I mentioned, Lightroom Mobile, Photoshop Mix, Photoshop Fix, Photoshop Express, and Behance, which is our creative sharing application for creative users. So let me kind of go into developing on DeX and how we had to, or what we looked at. As you know, Android applications are built for touch. So the biggest challenge for us was to take a touch-based application and really hone it in for keyboard and mouse. And the way we went about doing that, as many of you know, Adobe creates desktop applications. So we took a lot of that experience learning from our desktop apps and took a look at how the users are using it so that we can then implement that into a touch-based application. So if you look at Reader Mobile, once again, Acrobat, we wanted to make sure that navigation, commenting, which are top use features, could be used properly with a mouse as well as a keyboard. In Lightroom Mobile, we wanted to make sure that the scrolling worked. Right now, the mobile application, once again, is touch, so we wanted to make sure that the scroll wheel worked. And Samsung did a great job of making sure that that actually took place almost automatically for us. So the other area that we looked at were keyboard shortcuts. A lot of our desktop users, it's almost like muscle memory or touch typing where they know exactly what keys to press to do certain commands. So we took a lot of the keyboard shortcuts that we had in our desktop applications and brought those directly over to our touch applications, which made it much easier for the user to use, and also it was familiar to them, so it made it much easier to go into the DeX mode without any issues. Other things that we changed when we implemented DeX, we wanted to make sure that when you change from a smartphone mode to DeX mode, that you didn't lose anything that you're working on. So, for example, let's say somebody was working on an S8 Plus. They were doing commenting, and they wanted to work once again on a large screen. So when they docked it to the DeX station, we wanted to make sure that they didn't lose anything that they were already working on. And so we made some changes to that. Kavitha mentioned that earlier, that you can implement that so that you don't lose any changes between states. The other thing that we did on Acrobat Reader Mobile was that for scanning, we needed to disable that. And the reason for that is that the DeX station, because the smartphone is in the station, made it difficult for a user to actually take it out of the station and scan, or leave it in the station and scan. So we took that out, and I think from the workflow perspective, it made more sense for us. So the user could then use the phone, scan the document in, convert it to PDF, and then dock it in the DeX station, and then bring it up on the desktop. So that's how we kind of implemented that to make changes. Now, internally inside of Adobe, DeX has been received very well. It complements our overall offering. It's given our creative users a new way to express themselves, and also carry a small device that then allows them to hook up to a keyboard and mouse and continue working. So it's been great. I personally use it as well in travel as well as at work. Thanks, Kathy. Thanks.
Thank you, Hisa. That was a very good example to show how it enhances the user's performance, especially for Adobe and also for other products. Thank you so much. And we have a couple of questions in the Q&A box. So first question is mobile phone screen active when connected to DeX mode? No, the mobile screen display is not active. It is in the sleep mode. What happens to the notification and call coming on the phone when it is connected in the DeX mode? So you will be able to see the notifications in the bottom right hand side corner, as I showed you in the beginning during the demo, and you will also be able to receive the phone call if it's in the DeX mode.
Yeah, let me add to that. It actually, if you have a Bluetooth headset set up, you can actually answer the phone through Bluetooth.
Yep. And the next question, can I connect Samsung DeX to my laptop screen? No, I don't think you will be able to connect it to the laptop screen. You would need a external monitor. And the next question is, the DeX itself only casts to the monitor, correct? No additional benefit comes from the dock. Also, does it overheat the phone? Similar to how a phone heats up the Gear VR. So there is a fan in the DeX station, so we have taken care that the phone does not heat up when it is in the DeX mode. It is actually not casting. As I mentioned before, the DeX is built on top of Android Nugget's multi-window functionality, so it takes advantage of the multi-window that helps the users to use the application that are installed in the phone on the DeX mode. And what was that is the additional functionality is it uses the Android Nugget's multi-window functionality, and it does not overheat the phone. I think we have answered some of the questions. We have a couple of more questions. Please feel free to submit a ticket. We'll be replying back immediately. So as I mentioned before, all these presentations, the sample app, the guide will be available in the Samsung developers website. You can find the link in the slide as well. If you have not already registered, please feel free to register the Samsung Developer Program. It is a free program, and we can help you with all your questions, or if you have any issues, you can log in and please submit a ticket over there. And as mentioned earlier, the winner will be chosen at random, will be announced in 1 week from now. Yep, you can also go ahead and see our past webinars through the links that is available in this slide as well. Thank you for joining. So we have the Samsung Developer Conference 2017 coming up in October. It is on 18th and 19th. Please register and try to attend the conference. It is a big event. It is a good opportunity for you to know and learn more about the Samsung program products and the services that we offer. And it is a great opportunity to get in touch with Samsung people. Hoping to see you all there. Thank you so much for joining the webinar.